This is the first episode of the Cornermen podcast. I am your host, Jane Apps MMA, and this is my co-host, the
The
Phantom.
Phantom was good. We're bringing in the beanie to rep Guru. We got Guru and Mighty Mouse podcast out of here, so we gotta we gotta let it go.
We're
We're taking
we're
its
we're the
place.
replacements. We're the
We're the rep-
replacements. They'll probably collab later on to the future, but we're here to take on the MMA world now, and we're gonna be recapping UFC 323. We're gonna talk about UFC 324 and a little bit about UFC 325. A little bit because that card was not that good when they announced it. But
yeah.
let's talk about last night and the beautiful dominant performance that Piotr Jan did against Merab Dvalishvili. 5 round masterclass domination, dude. He stuffed 27 takedowns, pieced up Merab on the feet. Talk to me about it, man. Talk to me.
Bro, let me tell you, I am the only person on this planet that thought that Peter Yan was gonna win this fight. I knew that that first fight was overhyped, that Merab did not destroy him. Peter Yan stuffed takedowns. He showed that he could do it, and Peter Yan with 2 arms completely annihilated Merab, pieced him apart like a surgical technical wizard. Was absolutely amazing. One of the best performances I've ever seen with these 2 eyes. That was the most fun card I have seen all year. There hasn't been a more fun card this year, top to
Yeah,
bottom,
man.
knockouts. It was stacked. It was fire, and we got the best results possible moving forward. We got violence back at the bantamweight division. We got violence coming up at the flyweights. No more of this grappling like pussy stuff. We're throwing hands. We're swinging and banging. We're getting entertaining fights every single title fight now moving into 2026. It's looking good.
2026 is looking beautiful. Um, New champs in every single division. There's a lot of exciting fights. Volkanovski just said he's not retiring, which is surprising. So we'll see what happens over there. But let's talk about this one, man, because, man, Merab Dvalishvili, man. I thought, I picked Merab to win. I was wrong, but I'm still happy Piotr Jan put us out of our misery of having to deal with grapplers as champs. And Piotr Jan, the way he just went out there, stuffed all those takedowns, heavy, heavy kicks to the body. He had Merab literally grunting in the middle of the octagon, dude. Busted up Merab's nose. It looked like somebody shot a bullet into Merab's nose. It looked like there was a hole in there. Amazing performance by Piotr Jan, bro. Like, I don't know what else to say because in the first fight, he said, oh, my arm was broken in the first fight. He only had one arm. In this fight, dude, he looked unstoppable. This was vintage Piotr Jan, and he made Merab look. He didn't look like a machine anymore, dude. Let's be honest,
You
dude.
know, he said it. He said it before the fight. He said, "Yeah, Marab's a machine, but all machines break, motherfucker." He
Oh,
said exactly
machines
like that,
break, man.
and he destroyed him. I mean, we were seeing some of the most savage, vicious blows I've ever seen in a fight, and I think Peter Yan, honestly, I don't see a fighter in the bantamweight that can beat him, man. I mean, Sugar Sean, yeah, sure, might give him a run for his money, but I think he beats Umar. I think he beats Sandhagen again. I think he beats Marab in the trilogy because he has the recipe. He figured it out. He whipped up. He cooked last night.
He
I've never seen
cooked.
someone cook like that.
I'd never seen anybody cook up, somebody from that region of the mountainside like that. And I hope a lot of these UFC guys, a lot of these contenders that are, next for the belt against any, Dagestanian like Ian Gary,
Imavov, please
Imavov,
learn from
man.
this.
Look at these guys. Look at the performance Piotr Jan put. Like, Imavov, you're Russian. Go talk to him, brother. Go talk. Go to
He's
Thailand and
French.
talk to
He's French.
wherever he's from, bro. He's that weird ass name. Look, go
Go
talk to
learn.
Piotr Jan. Go ask him some advice on how did he stuff 27 takedowns from one of the most
Yeah.
craziest cardio machines of all time.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. He picked up Marab and dunked him on his head. The way that Bilal dunked Leon Edwards. And I wanted to cry. It was the
It
most
was
beautiful
tears
thing
of
I've ever
joy.
seen.
Tears of
Tears of joy.
joy.
And Marab still tried to hold him against the cage and knee his thigh. And
He
Peter, I was
tried
like, nah,
aura
bro.
farming. Marab was
He,
still trying to aura farm in like the first couple rounds, and then the tide
yeah, picked him up.
shifted in the third and fourth and fifth rounds where Jan was just doing. He entered a flow state where it was like, oh my gosh, like this is vintage Jan, maybe a Jan we had never seen before. Like
Yeah.
this,
He hit a
like
second peak.
this is maybe the second title run. People say the second title run's always better than the first. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens for Jan, man.
Yeah, I saw an
Um,
interview today. He was talking about he made a lot of mistakes in that first title run.
mhm.
That his camp, he didn't have like a stable camp, a stable team, and it looked like even in that post fight, he looked like all of that team that was around him. They were all homies. They were all super proud of him. They picked him up. I didn't see him celebrate with the team the way that he did last night. It
Yeah,
was
man.
beautiful.
Last night, maybe if he had his kids in there, he would have been emotional. He loves his kids. But
Yeah.
man, amazing performance from Piotr Jan. Let's move on to the
Wait, wait,
co-main
before we
event.
move on though, moving forward after this, like who do you I think they're obviously gonna do Marab the rematch, right?
Yeah, they're
Afterwards,
probably gonna book number three because Marab was a dominant champ. He was a dominant champ. He
deserves it.
already beat the who's who's, so give him one more chance against
Yeah.
Jan for the title. But there's a lot
And
to do with
props
the
to him.
bantamweight division now. There's a lot to do with the bantamweight division now. After Jan's win, we'll talk about Talbot later on. That's
Yeah.
something I never would have thought Frank Ocean's butt buddy was gonna get the Dubski, but let's talk about the co-main event, man.
All right.
Let's
What is there to
talk.
say about that one? Yeah.
My king got it done. He didn't get
The
it
number
done, but
one
he got
Glazer.
it done.
I mean, it was in the cards, bro. Honestly, he is blessed the way he said it in the after post fight speech. It looked like it was gonna be a crazy fight. I was hyped. I mean, Pantoja came out there with
He
his
came
crazy
out there
retard
fired
swing, and
up. He came out there
yeah,
wild as always. Like,
yeah,
threw heavy leg kicks to start off. He threw a couple punches. In the clinch, Van hit him with an uppercut, and then he throws the high kick. And you wouldn't expect this to happen in the lighter weight classes, but he goes and he lands on his arm, and that arm just
snaps.
explodes.
Yeah.
Dana White went on the press conference and said, "Oh, it was his shoulder that dislocated." I'm like, brother, that man's gonna need a nasty MRI because he not only
Yeah.
ripped every single ligament in that elbow, but bone. That's a compound fracture for sure, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
I saw a post today that he showed with like he had like a sleeve and he's like, I'll be back sooner than later, guys. And I'm like, I don't know, dude, because as soon as he landed, I saw it. I was with my girl and I was like, that's a snap. That looked like
yeah,
that arm snapped and he
that's
reacted like crazy. He was like, I can't do anything right now.
yeah. He
It wasn't
waved
like
it
when
off.
TJ. Yeah, he
Yeah.
waved it out himself. He was like, I'm good. It's not like TJ that he dislocated his shoulder and he was like, nah, I'm good. I'll pop back in. He was like, I can't fight right now. And it looked like it snapped inside of his arm. So we'll see what the actual diagnosis is. I think he's going to be out for a minute. I think Van is going to probably have to defend it against someone else. And it's not the way you want to see Van win. I mean, I wanted to see a war. I think everyone was ready to see a crazy fight.
Yeah.
But, he's the champ. What are you going to do?
Yeah, everybody was getting ready to see a nasty war with Pantoja and Van, and we just get that. And to all the people out there saying, yo, like Van, the way he celebrated, like, you got to realize in the moment, the adrenaline is hitting you. This guy just changed his life in less than what? Being 2 years in the UFC? This guy was on a roll. This guy beat the number one contender this year in a quick turnaround, and then what goes on to fight Pantoja in December. Like one of the craziest runs in the UFC. So of course, he's hyped. He won the belt. It's not his fault that Pantoja went out there and broke his arm. So don't go after Van. If anything, just
Yeah.
support him.
There was a lot of people like hating on him because they were like, "Oh, he celebrated disrespectfully." I didn't think so. I mean, he went up there and like rubbed Pantoja's head afterwards, like,
Yeah,
"Hey, I hope you're
man.
good, man." I think they're just haters because they didn't want Van to win. Because so many people like yourself and like other YouTubers were like, "Hey, yeah, Van's gonna win." I think Bedtime had Van winning too. So it's like, there was some people that were riding the Van train and he won. It wasn't the way that everyone expected, but he still took it. And yeah, he's changing his family's life. So
Yeah,
it
man.
was a big moment for him.
Like this man just bought his mom a house this year, so imagine you got that UFC contract championship because he's gonna go defend his belt against Tatsuro Taira, who we're gonna talk about pretty much next.
Yeah,
And I know you're not gonna like it because you.
I don't like that
And
fight, man. I don't
if
like.
we could let's get into that one because honestly, it's part of the same division,
That's the
and
next fight.
it's the next fight to make in the flyweight division, especially in the championship.
I
Um,
hated that fight.
Brandon Moreno versus Tatsuro Taira. I picked Tatsuro Taira to win. He picked Moreno to win. Um,
Ah, it was early stoppage, bro. Early stoppage. I get
yeah,
it. It was a dominant position. He rained down. He landed what like 10 shots, but Moreno was not out by any chance. Moreno's one of these guys that's one of the top fighters in the flyweight division. You can't let him, unless he's out cold, you can't stop the fight like that.
we've
This
seen him.
bald black dude,
Yeah, we've seen
the
him
fucking
fight
ref.
Davis and Figueiredo like a
Oh
couple
yeah.
times, like quad, like a
Four
four
times.
times,
Yeah.
like, and they were all wars. So like,
Yeah.
uh,
Even
the dude you're talking about, Mark Smith. Yeah,
bald black motherfucker, dude. I can't believe that he stopped it like that. He's been slipping all night. I think he was slipping all night. And then even Moreno got up and he was like, what, like you're gonna end the fight like that? Like I wasn't even out. And then Tyra with his freaking insane accent, one of the most stereotypically like
I'm
Asian accents.
Americango. I'm Americango.
This dude's loud as fuck on the mic. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but I'm like, I get it. Like whatever he type, and they want. I feel like the UFC, Mark Smith, whatever he had money on Tyra, cause stopping that fight that early, bro. You gotta give Moreno some chance to flow. The first round was pretty close. He had him like
Yeah,
in a reverse triangle. Like it was by no means was he getting destroyed by Tyra. I don't think Tyra deserves that title shot, even if they give it to him. Like I mean, his grappling
is
is good.
that
Don't get me
who
wrong.
would be next though? Because first of all, the UFC already said it that they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be in Japan already this like in next year." So you already know
Yeah.
like if they really
Yeah.
want to push Tyra to become the champ of the flyweight division, which I think he could be. I think he has a better chance at beating Pantoja than Van does, especially with the grappling that Tyra has. So if they really want to push Tyra and have the Japanese fans, the Tokyo fans out there root
Yeah.
for Tyra, that's gonna be what they're gonna that's what the UFC's gonna do. So
Yeah, I mean the only other, we have that big flyweight fight next week, Cap and Royval, which I
yeah,
would love it if Chef Cap won and his based ass was actually getting the title picture for one, because he would put up crazy fights. But I'm pretty sure that you're right. The UFC is trying to get that Asian market
yeah,
flowing, and they're trying to have a show up there in Tokyo, which fine. I mean, it's all good. I'm not hating on Tyra. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think he's good. I just disagreed with the decision, and it sucks for Moreno. It really sucks for Moreno because he's been done dirty now.
yeah, man. I feel bad for Moreno. Like he had a little losing streak going on, or he wasn't feeling himself. He comes back, goes on a win streak. And the flyweight division, the new gen of the flyweight division is making their way up there.
Yeah,
We got Ramanov Tamirov coming up. I'm pretty sure he's gonna fight somebody up in the rankings pretty soon.
hmm
Charles Johnson is fighting Alex Perez, I think in like next 2 months. I forgot which card it is. We're gonna talk about it later though. But let's talk
yeah,
about Henry Cejudo and Peyton Talbot. Frank Ocean's butt buddy gets
yeah,
it done. I was
yeah.
surprised. We both picked Henry Cejudo to win this fight.
Yeah.
Um, Talk to me. What do you think about
I,
this one, man? This one was
All I gotta say, bro, is that Peyton Talbot is a savage. The kid is super gifted. He's one of the best strikers I've ever seen. He's up there with Sean O'Malley. I mean, I really want to see him versus Sean or him versus Sanhagen. He's one of the best, most destructive strikers, and it was a great fight. I mean, honestly, I thought Cejudo went out, put his heart in his sleeve. He really went out there and said, you know what, if I'm going out, fuck it, I'm swinging. I'm putting it all out there. If you gotta knock me out,
yeah,
knock me out. And I respect that. I respect that a lot by Cejudo. Tabe was just better. He was just a better striker. He stuffed the takedowns. Cejudo, Olympic gold wrestler, doesn't mean anything, I guess, because he can only hold them down and can't even really ground and pound or do anything. I mean, the guy's like 5'2" or whatever. So like it's impossible. And it was I should have known better. I thought that Peyton Talbot was gonna get out wrestled because he lost to Jaime Barcelos, got
yeah,
out wrestled, got held down. I was like, oh, it'll repeat. Nah, Talbot has improved his grappling, and he's a real threat. He's a
yeah.
top five contender now. I'm pretty sure.
I think the thing was that kind of caught us was how quickly he improved on his grappling. You don't just you lose a fight and then the next fight you're just like, oh, my grappling's okay. Obviously, he hasn't met the high. This is a Henry Cejudo that is you know went on his second run in the UFC and went over 4. So he hasn't met somebody in the top of the bantamweight division, the who's. But we'll
Hmm.
see what Peyton Talbot looks against. I would love to see him against Sanhagen. I think that
Yeah.
fight would be really interesting. It's kind of time to give, I guess, Peyton Talbot a name if you're gonna push
Yeah.
him,
I mean,
especially.
Cejudo was a pretty decent name, but now you're talking about like the top dog, him versus Sean, him versus Sanhagen, even eventually Marab down the line, like this. It's a big fight that's changed. It was a big fight for him. It changed a lot for
Yeah,
him.
man, we might be getting the Frank Ocean Albin sooner than we think. Like, and what happens if this man wins the title? We might be getting albums back to back years. We never know. That pillow talk is crazy for them to. Hey, Frank Ocean helping him out with the grappling, that's for sure, man. But great
Yeah,
win by Peyton
great
Talbot. He
fight,
looked good, man.
great fight.
Let's move on,
And
man.
Cejudo, real quick before you do move on, like, Cejudo went out like a dog. All respect to him. I like the little montage they had of
Yeah,
him.
yeah, they did him nice. They did him nice.
Yeah, they did him nice. They did him
They
nice for
did him
sure.
nice. So Huda went out there gritty. Um, just didn't look good though. He just went. He's a tough MFO, tough motherfucker, but
Yeah.
couldn't get it done. But we move on to a very interesting fight, man. This one was a draw. John Blahovic versus Bogdan Guskov. Um, do you think that second round was a 10-8 for Gustav?
I don't think that was a 10-8, bro. I mean, look, I'm a little biased. I picked Blahovic. I think you picked Blahovic
Yeah,
too.
we
I
both
was
did, and
rooting
I
for
think,
her.
if you were gonna pick a winner in this fight, it was gonna be him because he won the first and third round. It
Yeah,
was
and
just
he
this,
dropped them in the third at the end there too.
yeah, and he was wobbled and he was gassed. It was just the second round that Gustav, you know, dropped Blahovic, and then he just kept them there the entire round. And the real questions that we have is like, what does a 10-8 look like in the UFC? Because like when we do see a 10-8 performance and it's not a 10-8 performance, it's like, and then when we see this, that I think, was it a 10-8 performance? I don't think so, but
I
they
don't think so. I
gave it
mean,
a
look,
10-8. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like a 10-8 is one of those where like you get dropped like multiple times. You get completely annihilated. You walked into the round looking okay. You left it looking like you got into a car accident. And that wasn't it. Blahovic, he got dropped, but it wasn't like a terrible drop where he was out cold and then, barely woke up type shit. Like it was no.
Yeah,
He got dropped moving backwards, he got caught, and then he Guskov he landed some good elbows, on the ground and pound, but it wasn't like a 10-8. That's pretty harsh. And it sucks for Blahovic because this isn't the first time that this happens where he kind of gets robbed. I think he beat Alex Pereira in that fight. I
yeah.
think that Ankalaev one is very close too, but he's an older guy now. I would have loved to have seen him get the win. I thought he would have gotten the win. I was very surprised when they gave it a draw, but it's the name of the game.
Yeah, it's the name of the game, man. And I don't think they run this one back. That's one thing. Like, I know it's a draw, but I don't think you run this one back at all. I think you give Gustav, like, maybe somebody a little bit lower in the rankings. You kind of saw what he's like. He was tested and he didn't pass the test if he didn't beat John. So, but then
No,
again,
not at all.
they're probably gonna push Guskov because they want the younger guys in the light heavyweight division to go up. John is already 42. His retiring has to be soon. So,
Yeah, he
um,
should. He really should.
he really
I could
should.
see Guskov getting like a Roundtree or something like that. Like one of those guys that's up there but not fully up there,
Yeah, maybe like a Roundtree or a Jamal Hill,
something like
or
that.
a Dominic Reyes. But then again, you don't want to be giving Guskov free wins. You kind of want to see if he's like an actual contender. To see if he's gonna do something or not. But we'll see what
Yeah,
they do with Gustav.
that
Um,
was a
le-
decent fight.
Decent fight. Let's move on. We got Grant Dawson versus Manuel Torres, dude. El Toro Loco, baby. El
Yo,
Toro Loco.
yo, everyone check out Jay Naps's video for Manuel Torres. He predicted this guy being a savage way back when, and I we called it. We both picked him. A lot of people were saying Grant Dawson. I know
Grant
Guru picked
Dawson, man.
Dawson. Bedtime picked Dawson. I'm pretty sure. I thought as soon as I saw him get knocked out in one punch against Bobby Green, I was like, this guy's not gonna
He has a
last
glass
3 rounds in
chin.
there with Torres. He has a glass
He
chin,
has a
and you
glass
can't you
chin.
can't stay up there. And Torres is clean and he's powerful and he's Mexican. You know, like this
And
guy's
he's
got
not,
it in him.
and he's a different type of Mexican too because he looked big out there against Dawson.
Yeah,
Dawson's a big
yeah,
dude, and Torres will look bigger than him, and he was just out there just there's a reason why Torres is one of my favorites and why I called, he's going to be up there in the rankings. I feel like he has a bright future, and it's because he has power. Not all these Mexicans
yeah,
have power, and this guy has power. And
yeah,
unless you're Ignacio Bahamondes, someone who's lengthy, somebody who's taller, who can keep it out range, if you're the same size as Torres, dude, your chin will meet his fist. You're gonna get caught, and it's just you trying to survive that. And he's been on a tear recently. Who would I
yeah.
give him next in the lightweight, division? Oh man, it's kind of tough because I would have liked to see him against Rufy, who was already like somewhere near the rankings, or
They booked
maybe,
that one.
somebody like Fiziev. I think Torres should have gotten like a Fiziev or something. Since he won, unlike Rufy who lost, and now he's still fighting in the rankings for some reason. But
Yeah. Yeah, you got to give him a step up at this point. I mean, he's doing is he's bringing in highlight reels. He's knocking people out. It's more than what a lot of these lightweight contenders are doing. So, it's really interesting to see him there. And I think was Dawson ranked before this fight
Dawson
or he
was
was just
like
outside?
somewhere in the rankings. Like I remember in his last fight, I know he was ranked in like number 15 at one point.
Yeah,
But
up there.
I think it's time for Torres to get somebody in the rankings. You gave him the
Yeah,
Judover test, he passed. You
he
gave him
passed on,
somebody
yeah.
who was touching the rankings already. He passed. Let's give Torres. Damn, who's a good person in the lightweight rankings?
You
Jalen
gotta get
Turner.
the ring.
Jalen Turner.
Jalen Turner, that would be a good. I
Jalen
mean,
Turner, who we're
Jalen
gonna
Turner.
we're gonna talk about him later on, but Jalen Turner's a guy who's nowhere near the rankings. I don't know. We'll see. But let's move on.
Um,
Next fight. Terrence McKinney versus Chris Duncan. We both got the Chris Duncan pick right, sir.
Yo,
Oh,
I was so happy about this fight, bro. I was so happy. Chris Duncan, people underrated. Again, Guru picked McKinney for whatever reason, the keyboard warrior himself. McKinney is annoying. He's powerful and he's talented, but he just gives up, man. He's got that quit in him, and Chris Duncan is a savage. And that story about Chris
yeah.
Duncan with his mom was murdered, before his first like MMA fight. Like that's a
Yeah,
crazy story.
crazy
And
story.
he's got the dog in him, man. It was a crazy fight. That was a crazy fight. You think McKinney was gonna put him out in those first couple seconds, and but Chris Duncan just didn't give up, didn't give in. He outmanned McKinney, to be
Yeah, and
honest, bro.
he got the choke. It was a Darce choke or an anaconda. I forgot what, but
Anaconda.
anaconda.
Hmm.
But Terrence McKinney, I think Guru said it best. He just doesn't have IQ. He's not the smartest man in the octagon. Anytime he sees his opponent hurt, he just goes out there and he's just gonna go out there and just try and like rip him apart.
Yeah,
And it's just
he
like,
he's he stays too much on Twitter too, bro. Every single fight week that you see a fight on the screens, any fight in general, it could be a prelim fight. You're gonna see a little Twitter side where it says Terrence McKinney speaking his mind. For some reason, they put every tweet that he ever posts on ESPN. So he's got
uh,
to get in the gym. He's got to grow up, man. For me, he's like one of those dudes that like goes on Call of Duty and like starts like trolling people or something. Like he's not like he's got to grow up. That's
he's
my
gotta
opinion.
he's gotta take his career more seriously. He has a lot of talent.
Yeah.
He has the
Hmm.
power. He
He's
has the
fast.
striking. He's fast, but he needs to take his career a little bit more seriously. And I think if he did, the UFC would give him a little bit of Dana White privilege. I think they really like Terrence McKinney, but since he's out here
Yeah.
just can crushing and not prospect killing, he's getting killed
Hmm.
by the prospects, and
Hmm.
he's not gonna get anywhere. But Chris Duncan, dude, hell of a performance.
Yeah.
Time to give him somebody in the rankings, man. This guy's been on a
Yeah.
tear this year. The Rebecca fight was crazy.
Hmm.
Um, just give Chris Duncan somebody else. This is one of Manuel Torres' wins too. Manuel Torres submitted Chris Duncan, so this looks
Yeah.
good for Manuel Torres. So keep it up, Chris Duncan. Let's
Yeah.
move on. This fight right here, the only women's fight on the card, but Macy Big Booty Barber against Karen Silva or Karine Silva.
Big
I don't
titty now
know.
too.
Big titty. Hey, man. Macy Barber's looking good everywhere you look in that octagon. But just not in
Yeah.
this fight. Just not in this fight. This fight was a little bit boring. Not going to lie to you.
It was, I mean,
Um,
for a women's fight, look, I go into women's fights expecting that. I'm not expecting a knockout
yeah,
punch.
man.
I thought it was a mid fight. You know, I love watching Macy Barber though, just because she has a lot of aggression. Like when she was on top and she was pounding down, and you know, you got the cheeks all up in the camera and stuff. That I don't mind seeing. And she's laying down the thunder on the Karine Silva, this Brazilian black chick that I knew she was gonna win. You know, she's just more talented
Yeah,
than her.
she's more
For
talented.
me, for me, Macy Barber's like in the top, you know, one of the top five fighters in that division. I could see her up there with like the Blanchfields. A lot of people were giving her hate for that Blanchfield pullout, but I mean, she had like a seizure like a couple minutes before the
Yeah.
fight. Like, I'm not gonna hate on her for pulling out. Like, life happens, you know what I mean? But I think she's a legit contender. I think she's powerful. She has the dog in her. She has no quit. She's mean. She punches mean. And there was like that instance where she got kicked in the face, and it was like an illegal blow. I was also Mark Smith, if I remember correctly, this bald black motherfucker. He not giving up, not taking a point
Bro,
from Queen Silva. How are you
brother,
gonna have rules, bro?
do
Bro, how
something.
are you gonna
You
have
hate that
rules?
milk dud looking ass, mama. You hate that milk dud, boy. That
Bro,
milk
like how
dud.
are you gonna Yeah, and then I don't know, man. He just was slipping last night. And like he was like, "Nah, it was a grazing blow." Like you didn't even see the replay or nothing. How are you gonna even
Yeah,
say
yeah,
that? Like
yeah.
it was unfair. And how are you gonna have rules in MMA and you're not gonna enforce them? You're not ever gonna take away points.
Yeah,
You're gonna
man.
have gone poking people in the eyes and then blaming the guy who gets his eye poked. That's another talk for another day. But like it's you gotta take a point away for that kick, you know. But
Yeah,
whatever.
man.
Macy Barber didn't care.
She didn't care, but like, as that MMA community, you somewhat have to care because, man, like this, you got to take away a point. At least
Yeah.
take away a point because,
Yeah.
brother, if you don't take away a point, what are you doing
They're gonna
out
keep
here?
doing it.
Like they're gonna keep
Yeah, they're gonna
doing
keep
it.
doing
They're
it.
gonna keep doing it. But still, um, great win by Macy Barber. I think she's up there in the division. I think she'll eventually. I think if she wins her next one, she'll get a title shot. I think they're just
Hmm.
ready to
Same.
give like Silva a title shot. They were ready to give Blanchfield one.
Natalia
Maybe
Silva.
we'll see what
Yeah.
they do. But great job by Macy Barber. We move on. Nazim Sadiqov versus Faraziam, dude. Faraziam goes out there in the second round, dude, and he gets the nasty KO finish with those elbows, man. Talk to me
Yeah.
about this one. I forgot about a little bit of how the first round went, but Ziam is just too good.
Ziam, he's good. I mean, his grappling really kind of took over the fight. I thought that they ended it at the end of the round. I thought that it was like the end of the round, but
Yeah,
then they
yeah,
were like, oh, they called it off right
yeah.
there.
Herzog.
And Ziam is talented, man. I know like Guru mentions him a lot, and he's you know French. He was on that France card where he like freaking kneed Frivola in the face. So after that fight,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this kid's good. He's talented. He's slick. He's got good grappling. His striking is pretty clean. I mean, I could see him having a pretty good future in that division. And I thought he was just more talented than what is it,
Then Nazim,
Nadikov,
yeah, Sadikov, yeah.
Sadikov,
A
yeah,
lot of people are falling into Sadikov hype, and I was like, nah, Sadikov doesn't have what Ziam has, and it's that Ziam is strong now. Before he used to be weak, but now he is
yeah.
strong. He is lengthy. Great kicks to the body. He has great kicks.
Hmm.
He has great knees. And Ziam just does his thing out there, man. And I think Guru's been saying it for a while. I've been wanting it. Give this man somebody in the rankings already, dude. ZM
The
needs to
Michael
be in the
Chandler fight,
rankings.
man. Give him Michael
Give him
Chandler.
Michael Chandler. Give him ever old head in the rankings. Um, Renato Moicano. Give him Renato Moicano, dude. Make that. You
That's
can make
another
that a
good fight
fight
too.
night. I don't know. Make that a fight night in France if you're gonna go to France. Sell
Yeah,
that ZMO. He's back and he's gonna revenge
it's a good
Benoit
fight.
Saint Denis's loss to Moicano. Make something up UFC. But
There's a lot of good matchups to make with Ziam. He's a fun fighter.
yeah, he's a fun fighter, dude. And for Nazim Sadiqov, just get back in the lab, get a couple more wins. But
Yeah,
I don't know what
pretty
else to
much.
tell you. You just met your match that night. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
brother.
yeah.
But
Poor guy.
let's move on. We have oh man, Marvin Vittori versus Bruno Ferreira. I feel bad for Marvin, dude. I really do feel bad for Marvin.
I mean,
It
the chin held up. You know, the chin didn't get cracked, so that's a win in spirit. You know.
Yeah, man. Marvin's chin is. I think number one pound for pound most granite chin in the UFC. This guy goes out there, he just he gets hit every single time with anything, bro. You could probably put a baseball bat to that chin and he's still coming towards you.
He's eating it.
I don't know what does that guy have, but the
He's just got a blockhead, bro. It's crazy.
but
It's crazy.
eventually he's gonna meet an up and comer, and the UFC is gonna, they're gonna eventually cut Marvin Vettori if he doesn't eventually collect the win, and if he's just gonna get
Yeah.
out there and just get pieced up, it's not gonna look good for his career, dude, and it's not gonna be well for his health at all either. So
It's one of those things like I think personally that Marvin Vettori has always kind of been trash, and I like Vettori. The Italian dream. Like he's the one Italian guy in the fucking UFC that is actually promotable, kind of. But I just think he's not really talented. All he does is throw 1-2s, and like you can't really get away with that. Even his
yeah,
leg kicks are like kind of suspect. Like he doesn't just spice it up. You need to do something, and it makes Adesanya's like title run look bad because this guy was like two of those title run wins from Adesanya was Vettori, and I'm like, why was he even in the top five? I mean, it's not like he's drastically fallen off style wise.
yeah,
He just has always been like this, and now the division's changing. It's moving. More talented guys are coming up, and I thought Bruno Ferreira, he missed weight. So I
yeah,
was like, oh, maybe we'll see what's up with that. But nah, he was still just a better technical fighter than Vettori.
yeah. For he's been up and coming in the middleweight division. He's had great fights already. But I knew he was gonna get this one done, man. Was just too easy to predict.
Yeah.
For you can't be missing weight like that, but it was still a fun fight, still somewhat of a fun fight. I don't really.
It was alright. I mean, compared to the early like submissions and knockouts, it was like, all right, we're stalling a little bit. It was
It
alright.
was a nice little like break to have.
Yeah,
It was a nice
yeah.
little break, yeah, because especially like the ones before were a little exciting. We had Edson Barbosa versus Jalen Turner.
Hmm.
It was funny. The UFC threw out like a little promo package for Edson Barbosa, like if he was gonna retire, and then he
I think
doesn't
they all wanted
retire.
him to.
Yeah, they're like it's like the UFC. We're like sending him
He
off.
should have. Yeah, he should. I mean, bro, how much damage are you gonna take before you call it a career, man? I pray for Barboza, and I hope that he gets his health in order and just like realizes you're not gonna be champ. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
some people were born for, some people weren't. He's still a legend of the sport. I mean, he had some of the best fights that the division has ever seen. And but now he's old. I mean, it's a couple losses that it's not look good on his chin. He got his ass beat in a one round by Jalen Turner. I mean, he got bloodied up. He got a serious ass whooping by Turner, and I just think you got to retire, man. You got to call it at some point.
yeah, man. You gotta call it out. You gotta call it at some point, and I think it's time for him to just call it, dude. You got Jalen Turner, somebody who's coming off of just like a little quick retirement because he went through a little losing streak and he was frustrated with himself, and the UFC fed him to you. Like you just gotta just call it quits, man. You
Yeah,
had a
I do
great
gotta
career,
point out
man.
too, Jalen Turner's one of these guys that I don't really like too much because he's kind of a weight bully. Like he's way bigger than all the other guys at lightweight. He cuts a lot of weight, and it's like just go to welterweight, dude. Like you're like 7 feet tall. You know what I mean? Like why are you out here fighting these 5'9" guys that you're always punching down at? And you got crazy reach advantage. Like I for me, I'm not really
Yeah.
caring about Jalen Turner right now. We'll see who they give him next. Like he has some power. I mean, he completely murdered Bobby Green, so that's he's got some talent and some power. But like go up to a division where it's a fair fight.
Yeah, just I hope Jalen Turner goes up to welterweight. Like I think he cuts all that weight thinking he has the power to knock somebody out in lightweight division. That's Edson Barbosa, but Jalen Turner, if there's a reason why you got stuck in the middle of your career is because you weren't improving, and being a weight bully only takes you so far until
Exactly.
your skills and your skills match up with it. But still, overall, a good finish by Turner. Whatever. Let's move on to one of the most insane first rounds I'd
Oh
ever
yeah.
seen. Ivo Baranovsky, whatever, versus Ibo Aslan. Holy
That was
smokes.
crazy. That was crazy. I
Shades
think there
of
was like
Pat
five.
Barry versus
Oh yeah.
Chachenko.
Yeah.
Chicago, yo, that was insane how they were just swinging.
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah, like five knockdowns in the first couple like seconds, I think, like the first couple minutes of that round. That was one of the best rounds I've ever seen. I mean, these two
yeah,
dudes were
man.
out for blood. It was like a bar fight, and they were both drunk, just swinging. Just, I'm glad that Evil Aslan is the one that lost because he's
Mm,
kind of booty cheeks, you know. But that was, you gotta count on the Polish guy in that regard. And that was just a crazy barn burner, you know. That was a great prelim fight.
it was a great prelim fight. There's not much you can really say about this one. Evo just went out there and he, caught Ebo, flatlined
Yeah.
Ebo,
Yeah.
and
It
I
wasn't even
think
a technical
when like there's
like a
nothing
Marab.
technical to talk
They,
about. It's just like
they
these
were
guys went
just
out
swinging,
there.
bro.
They
Trying
went
to
out there
kill
to
each other. That's
yeah,
it.
exactly. They went out there to kill each other, and Evo is the one that's alive, and he continues on his UFC career while Evo is probably gonna get cut, man. Because Jesus,
Gotta
that
do
was
it.
that was.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was a
But
crazy fight.
let's move on to the last two fights of the night. Um, Mansour Abdul Malik versus Antonio Tocoli. Um,
The
Tocoli's
guy, aka
ass.
the guy that Mackenzie Dern dated that one time or whatever, like
I don't
he's
know if these
bad.
two together, dude. He's butt cheeks. He's duty caca. They were saying, oh, he won a poker tournament. I think he's paying the UFC to fucking be in the UFC to just to get a win, bro. But
Yeah.
Mansour Abdulmalik gets this man renegade choke in the first round. I mean, not renegade choke. It was a guillotine in the first round,
Yeah,
standing
guillotine.
guillotine too.
Yeah, it sucks because
This,
you see Abdul Malik and he's a talented dude, but we're not really seeing him getting tested against anyone else who actually can stand a chance. I mean, Tricoli is just like terrible, so it wasn't
yeah,
even
bro.
like a close fight. But I'm excited to see Abdul Malik whatever he does next, because he seems like he's got some power, he's got some range.
Yeah, I want to see him get tested though.
Yeah,
Him, but Gutierrez, like one. Come on, UFC, you can't have all these black African guys just like beating up the cans, and then they just don't, they don't get to the top, and then when you give them somebody at the top, they just get, demolished. So
yeah,
give
the
Abdul
McKinney
Malik
situation.
somebody, please, bro. Exactly, the McKinney situation. Just please give him something. Last fight of the night to talk about. Froggy Fresh, Marion Santos versus Muhammad Naimov. Um, Marion Santos, he gets the third round KO.
Yeah.
This yeah, that's all I can say. He got the third round TKO or whatever it
He
was.
missed weight too, I think, right? He also
Yeah, he
missed
missed
weight.
weight, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Can't be missing weight
Come
out
on,
here, bro.
Frogger,
Like, and
bro.
then you want a bonus. You're here. I think what? Let me get a bonus, man. Like, come on,
Nah,
Like,
bro. You can't ask for a bonus when you're the first prelim opener, you miss weight, and like you got a third round. Like, whatever, man. It's all
uh,
right.
whatever. That overall, if we were to give a rating for UFC 323, what would you rate it? And is this one of the best cards of the year in your opinion?
Yeah, bro. I'm going towards like a 9, 8.59, because this is one of the better cards that I've seen all year. Also, we've been like the year overall has been kind of disappointing. We've had a lot of just like
What
hyped up
ifs?
fights, hyped up
Yeah,
what ifs, main events that were like the great, Islam versus JDM and Hamza versus DDP, which was super hyped up
yeah,
fights, and then ended up being boring snoozers. So, maybe we were just deprived of some real action. And last night was like, we finally got to see a technical fight, a war. We got to see people get their fucking shit wrecked. We got blood all over the canvas. So it was, I think it's one of the best cards I've ever seen. It was entertaining front to back. Even like Pantoja breaking his arm, I was like, damn. I mean, you still saw some dude break his arm on TV.
yeah.
So it was I think a great card. I'd give it a 9. Yeah, I'm leaning towards a 9. Even the prelims were pretty bangers.
Yeah. I'll give it a 9 just because Van won. If Van would have lost, I probably would have still gave it like an 8 or something. I'm giving it.
Yeah.
I would have gave this a higher rating if Van would have won by like TKO or by decision.
Oh
Though
yeah.
I
If
would
it
have
would have
give.
been a war with Van and Pantoja, that's
Oh,
like a 10.
I would have given it a 10. But yeah, I'll give it a
Yeah.
9. Still a really good card, top to bottom. We still got to see some booty. Not so much of
Exactly.
it. The less the better. That's how it is in
Yeah.
MMA. So,
Yeah, and
um,
what I love about it too is that it sets up the future of the UFC at like it got us excited. Like, all right, now it's not just Marab, okay, another win, Pantoja, another win. Like we got to see the divisions get shaken up. Now we can have fun predicting next matchups. The next matchups are gonna be wars.
yeah,
We got to
man.
see real warriors in there now. Enough of this hugging and grappling stuff. So that was really my takeaway. I was just hype about the future now.
Yeah, the future is looking bright for the UFC. After we were saying that, this year, was a like, and the year before that, this year is going to be like a little bit of a downfall. But it was a downfall this year. We were saying that how hype it was going to be, but the downfall was so bad. Like, it was kind of like how the UFC how were they going to save themselves? And they
Yeah.
eventually did by just matchmaking. They put up the best matchmaking fights out there. And yeah, now the championship fights that we're gonna see in 2026 that we're gonna talk about right now, anyways, because um,
Yeah. Do a little preview.
you want to do a little preview of UFC 326. Let's do that.
Yeah, we'll do a quick preview of 20 not 26 oh yeah, 2026, but UFC
2026.
324.
Yeah,
Patty Gaethje, that's a crazy fight.
let's talk about Patty Gagey. Um, I've said this already before. I'm making a video of Patty Pimblett, one of the most Dana White privileged fighters I've ever seen. This dude, he's just. If you look at Paddy Pimblett's resume, there's no way you look at that resume and say, yeah, this guy definitely deserved an interim title shot against Justin Gaethje. And then you look at Justin Gaethje, you can't just give him a title shot against, after winning Fiziev, like beating Fiziev. So it's just, the fun. I'm so hype about this fight because it's gonna be a fun fight, interesting fight. But for the fact that it's for the interim title,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. As a fan base, I think none of us really think that they're gonna be, the champ because we still have Ilya, who's like arguably going towards GOAT status. So and then until they really beat Ilya, it's like then you're the champ. If they do it, I think Ilya starches both of these fools.
yeah,
But regardless, they're fan favorites. I mean, you're right. I think Patty doesn't really deserve a title shot based off of a win off of Chandler. I think his last three opponents have a combined like 0 and 13 record or something crazy like that.
yeah.
So he definitely on paper didn't deserve it, but he's got the Scouser hype. He's got the whole of England on his back. He's just he's
Scousers
sellable.
don't get knocked out, lad. Scousers
Yeah,
don't get knocked out, lad.
he's
Like
got,
they eat that shit. They eat that shit.
exactly. They eat that shit for breakfast, and I think they might be right. I mean, he hasn't gotten flatline yet, but people were counting out Gaethje. I mean, I think Gaethje's got a pretty solid chance. He's got
Yeah,
power. He's
man.
got a lot of technical abilities, and he's a fan favorite too. I mean, he always has exciting fights. All I know is that this is not going 5 rounds. This is gonna end in probably one of the first 3 rounds, to be honest. And personally, if we're doing an early prediction, I do have Patty submitting him just because I think Gaethje has like a
Yeah,
lot of flaws on the ground, and Patty is smart enough to not really throw hands in there with him and probably just grapple him. Patty's grappling is really, really good. That's his one chance I think that he has even against Ilya, though I think Ilya probably knocked his ass out.
yeah.
But his grappling is top tier, so it's gonna be a banger regardless.
Yeah, it's gonna be a banger, man. I got Patty winning this one in the early rounds too by submission. Patty, go talk to Charles Oliveira. You know, he's beaten Justin Gaethje before. Just to as long as you get Justin Gaethje's back and find the rear naked choke, you're gonna win. But if this goes into the later rounds, I would be a little bit worried. Justin Gaethje, he's known to have wars, and if is Paddy Pimblett ready to have a war against Justin Gaethje? This is an older Justin Gaethje. This was a younger Justin Gaethje. I think would be saying something else, but yeah, Paddy's winning this one. Let's move on to the co-main event, though. Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunez.
Yeah.
Early predictions on this. I got Nunez winning this one, man. I don't know why, but I just feel like the stud is coming back for her belt, I guess.
Yeah, I think Nunes has like next level lesbian power in her hands. I mean, she got fucking cannons, and Kayla Harrison is good. She can hold people down on the floor, but I don't think she's fought anyone with the crispy striking that Nunes has. I also got Nunes probably knocking her ass out. which in that regard, okay, I respect. I'm glad that Nunes is back because she can at least throw some hype in there, throw some knockouts in there, and we'll see some fireworks. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, man. Hopefully it's an exciting fight because we had Valentina versus Wei Ling Zhang, and that wasn't exciting at all. And we all thought that was going to be exciting, and all we saw was Valentina become a Dagestani wrestler and Leon Zhang. So hopefully this is a nice little war. Nunez, please knock this girl out, or at least Kayla may knock this girl out. Something fun, please.
Yeah. The
Women's
women's
fight.
title fight, bro. It's a women's
So
title fight. It's rough. Don't even mention Shevchenko Zhang, bro. That was gonna be the most hype women's fight of all time. I was the one out here preaching that fight, and then when we saw it, it was like, all right, bro. Let's turn this off. This was not fun.
yeah, man. But let's talk about the next fight. Bantamweight division, has somewhat reopened. Song Yadong versus Sean O'Malley. I think everybody, 99% of the MMA community has Sean O'Malley taking this fight. Especially what Piotr Jan did to Song Yadong. And now that Piotr Jan is champ, Song Yadong's gonna have to need a couple more wins. O'Malley, he
Yeah.
beat Jan. O'Malley, if he puts on an impressive performance and probably wins another one, he's closer to a title shot again. I don't know. Bantamweight
I wouldn't
division's
be
weird.
surprised.
Yeah,
I
man.
wouldn't be surprised if they just gave Sean the title fight after beating Yadong. If Marab isn't ready in time and they're trying to do a crazy fight for the White House, they'll do Sugar Sean versus Jan. That'd be a crazy turn of events. I think yeah, Sean is just talented. It's one of those things like we were talking about Peyton Talbot earlier. Like he's just one of these guys that has next level stand up. I mean, he's probably the best striker, the actual best striker I've ever seen in the UFC. I mean, the guy is a monster striking. And it's not like Song Yadong's going to try to really grapple with him. I mean, he could. I'd be very surprised if Song Yadong actually won this fight. He's good. I mean, Song Yadong is powerful. He's young. He's athletic. But I just don't think he can keep up with the speed of O'Malley. I think O'Malley keeps him at range, picks him apart, lands some really serious damage on him. It'll be a banger. It'll be a good fight, But I think Sean's gonna ultimately win this.
Yeah, I think Sean's gonna win this. I think he's just gonna 5 rounds, 3 rounds, whatever this is. Keep it on
It's
the
three. I'm pretty
feed.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Three on the feed. Some of these fights, man. Some of these really important fights, like Bilal versus Gary, could have been a 5 rounder. That was a three. Never know. Some of these
Yeah.
fights, yeah. So they got
Yeah. Yeah.
UFC's got to start thinking a little bit about that.
I
It's
heard that there's an opinion, I think Guru brought it up, where he was like these number one contender fights, they should be 5 rounds.
yeah.
And I do agree with that. I agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I agree because it gives us a better understanding. Like, oh, if this person fights 5 rounds, how is he gonna be in a championship fight? Like, look at Van versus Roy Val. If that would have been that was
hmm
5 rounds, right? That was 5 rounds. Yeah, it
That
was five
was
rounds.
that was three. No,
That
no,
was
that was
three.
three. Yeah.
It would have been
That was the
five.
featured fight.
That was a
hmm
featured fight, exactly. Yeah, you see, some of these featured fights, man, better to have them 5 rounds, especially now in the new Paramount era that you're gonna be starting the pay per view hour an hour early. Maybe you throw
Yeah.
that featured fight in there for a little 5 rounder, just in case if like the main card hasn't been that exciting. But make sure the featured fight is exciting. If it's not exciting and we get 5 rounds of boringness, yeah, we going ride up in this baby. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the matchmaking there.
yeah.
But this card is looking good. I mean, it's got some big names.
Yeah,
We got some
man.
big names
Natalia
in there.
Silva's fighting Rose. She steps in after Alexa Grasso pulls out. I got Silva winning this one. I think Rose is
Oh yeah.
past her prime. And we
Yeah.
need a new face in that one. We need a new face for the women's division, especially with the Gooners in the MMA community. They want to see Macy Barber win. They want to see the Derns win. They want to see the Silvas win. They want to see the baddies win. That's what
Yeah, you can't hate on that.
you can hate on that. So
That's what sells. That's what sells. I think Rose is out, man. She's been with Pat Barry for too long. She's not entertaining anymore. We don't care about her believing in herself. I'm tired of it. So Natalia Silva, at least, she's a little bit of a cutie. She got some hands and some kicks. So like, she can piece her up. I'm pretty sure she's gonna piece up Rose.
yeah, Rose, it's time for you to at least get a divorce of Pat Barry, or at least tell him, hey, can I grow my hair out? I'm not gonna be fighting like all the time now. I'm out of my prime or something, man. But
Yeah.
But
Go back to
please
playing piano,
go
you know?
back to yeah, man. Go back to doing something productive. Hey, maybe you can be a trainer but still have hair. Like just I don't want to see you
Yeah.
looking like a
It's night and
little
day. It's night and day
yeah. I
difference.
don't need you looking like Tommy Pickles anymore, man. Grow that shit out. Um,
Oh, shit.
I
Yeah.
think the last fight. Well, no, not the last fight because we still got a couple more. But Arnold Allen versus Gene Silva,
Yeah, that's a banger. That's a good fight. That's a
banger
good fight.
fight.
I got
Uh,
Arnold Allen, bro. I think Arnold Allen is underrated. I think he's technical. I think Gene Silva is an emote king. I mean, he's been, emoting on all the cans that they've been giving him. And he is good. He's got power, but I think Arnold Allen's been in there with the top dogs. He's been in there with Evloev. He arguably won that Evloev fight. I mean, he's been up there in the top contenders. I'm surprised that they gave him Gene Silva. I thought they would give him like something like Yair or something like that. But
yeah.
regardless, it's a good fight. I think Arnold Allen scraps it out and wins the decision.
I'm gonna have to go with Gene Silva in this one. I think this is just because I still somehow like the fighting nerds in a way that keep them close to heart. But I don't know. I just I see so much potential in Gene Silva, and if he could just fix his attitude and his emotions in the octagon and turn into the killer that he is. Obviously, his resume isn't looking too spectacular now after the Diego Lopez loss, and now you're going up against a guy who's been in the division for so long that could have had a title shot already if he was a little bit more active, if he wasn't so hurt. Thought about moving up with Arnold Allen. So we'll see what Gene Silva does. I think he wins by decision. Um, I don't think he cracks Arnold Allen or anything. I think Arnold Allen's pretty durable. So I got Gene Silva decision
Good
win by
fight.
like a miracle or whatever. We'll see. But we
Okay.
we got a really interesting one in this one. Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis, man. Derek Lewis, did you see the press conference, man? He was making it
Yeah.
fun, bro.
Yeah, bro. He's telling us about being all up in his wife's guts again, bro. I mean, this guy this guy has no filter. He's awesome. I love Derek Lewis. I mean, I don't know if his wife what his wife feels about just, him putting her out there like that, but he always spices it up, man. And the UFC loves him. I loves him. I mean, he's just a fun guy. I don't think he's gonna beat Waldo
Yeah.
Cortez Acosta. I think Waldo's really talented. I think he's young and he's got the speed on him. Of course, Derek Lewis always surprises us and just has that one punch knockout power. So it's gonna be a banger for sure. But yeah, I got Waldo probably piecing him up and maybe even knocking him out. Derek Lewis has also quit a couple times, so it's we'll see.
Yeah. I got Waldo Cortez Acosta. El hueso, el mío, el mío. I think he's gonna get it, bro. I think he's building up a lot of hype for himself. Especially going out there, beating Auntie Didija after getting poked, getting your eye poked out, and then the week before that it was Tom doing it, and then you go out there and
Yeah,
you
it's good
and you
timing.
knock out like Shamil Gaziev, like he's knocking out all the memes in the heavyweight division, and he's becoming
Yeah,
the troll himself. Let's be honest. So
yeah.
Waldo Cortez Acosta, you have yourself a fan over here. Continue, keep going. Put the Latin community out there in the heavyweight division. Knock out Derek Lewis for me, brother. But let's move on to I think
What else did they
the
announce?
last intro. Oh, they announced I think they announced the rest of the card, but we're gonna talk about the card. The fights that we care about. Umar Nurmagomedov versus David Figueiredo is on this card. I think
Umar,
Umar
easy.
is gonna win, and if he wins, he's next for the shot of the title. I think the UFC, if they still wanna tickle the pickle of Khabib, they just say we want Umar to have a little title shot. They're gonna throw Umar in there against Piotr Jan. We still haven't
Throw
seen
him in
that
there.
fight yet.
Let's let
That
Jan
would be a
destroy him, bro.
yeah, that would be a fun fight to watch. If you want to give Marab some time after his activity, throw that fight together. If Umar beats Davis Figueroa, which I think it's gonna happen. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's next for the bantamweight division. And the last fight that we're gonna talk about for UFC 324. Before we talk about UFC 325 and how weird that card is looking, but Atemba Gutierrez fighting Andre Puliev. Um, Stop giving Atemba Gutierrez guys that don't have a name. Like this is what we're talking about. Atemba Gutierrez,
Yeah.
like He's supposed to go out there fighting somebody with a name, somebody who has a couple of knockouts. You give an Andre Puliev, a guy who just got here. What are we doing? But yeah, that's the UFC for you guys. That's the UFC.
Probably just gonna knock him out real quick.
Exactly. Um, Let me pull up UFC 325 real quick.
It's
Um,
Volk Lopez, right?
Volk Lopez in Australia, and oh my gosh, let me find that on Instagram because
Oh, that's in Australia?
that's in Australia. That's why we all thought it
Okay.
was gonna be Volk's final fight, and if he was
That's
gonna
right.
go out there and fight either Murphy or Evloev, and he's really
With respect
not.
to Volk, man, I don't I feel like he's just got such a like he was talking about that whole mental health thing where he's like, I don't have a purpose in life unless I got a fight coming up. It's like, all right, Volk, we see you. You're gonna fight until you get knocked unconscious 20 times.
Uh,
Like
and
it
and yeah, I don't think Lucas Tracy is bound to see that. He doesn't want to see his boy get cooked like that.
Uh, they honestly should not have given Diego Lopez that title shot, man. I mean, I wanted to see Diego Lopez versus Yair. That was a bad blood fight that would have been really hyped up, really fun, and give Volk Evloev or give Volk Murphy so he can build on his legacy. But they gave Lopez the fight. They really want a Mexican champ in there.
Yeah, man. I don't know why the UFC is going out here just going crazy and just I don't know why they desperately want a Mexican champ. They did that same thing with Alexa Grasso. Yair Rodriguez got a custom belt. Like, come on, dude. We were giving out custom belts to Mexican champs, brother. Like, if like like I don't know if there's like somebody that works for the UFC or is investing in the UFC that they're Mexican. I don't know what they're doing, but they glaze in these motherfuckers too much, man. Diego
Yeah, they built a
Lopez.
PI over there.
Yeah, man. Let's look at this main card. We got Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. This is the main event. Co-main event: Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis, dude.
I don't like that fight, bro. As soon as I saw them announce that, I was like, you're just trying to murder Hooker, dude.
You're
But
trying to
not
murder
saying,
Hooker. Like you just saw the hype that Armin has off Hooker, and now Hooker's gonna go out there and fight Benoit Saint Denis. But that's probably because I think Hooker might consider retirement. It's in
he should.
Australia. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
been
should.
injured too many times, dude, and he's not gonna get the belt. So I think if
No.
anything, if you beat number 8, go ahead and continue. But if you lose to Benoit Saint Denis, just please rip the gloves off. We don't need to see
Yeah.
you get mangled anymore. But then we have the featured fight: Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Huffy. What in God's name is this fight? Why is this fight even being made? Dana White, what are you doing, brother? What are you doing, brother?
Eh, I almost feel like Dana's a casual, bro, and he just like saw those two names. You're like, oh, that'd be fun, put them together.
Yeah,
And
like
it could be fun, but like, what implications are we talking about? Like, who's gonna move on to what, you know?
first of all, I feel like he just said, okay, Mauricio Huffy lost. I don't want him to fight somebody outside of the rankings, but who's somebody in the rankings that is still relevant, who just lost. Who is it? Rafael Fiziev just lost to Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje is getting an interim title shot. So you kind of shoot Mauricio Ruffy right back into the title contention with that win against Rafael Fiziev. So I don't really like it. The main card is looking really weak to start off the Paramount era for UFC 325. So, because then after that, we have Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. Tai Tuivasa should not be ranked. He hasn't fought in over 2 years, and I
He's
hear people
back.
out there saying that he still looks overweight and he might not make weight. So, and against Taliesin Teixeira, Tai Tuivasa should consider retirement as well. Like, I feel like this is
I
the
don't care about that fight.
nobody cares about the fight exactly, and I feel like the UFC just made the Australian retirement fight card right here. Like you have Tuivasa who should retire. You have Hooker, Volkanovski, Jimmy Crute at
Yeah,
one point was in trouble in his career. Now he's fighting Dustin Jacoby and he's on the main card. I don't like this card at all.
I don't like
Um,
that. What are your prediction? Who do you think is winning these fights? I got personally the Volk fight is hard to choose. I'm not gonna I'm gonna not pick anyone for the Volk fight yet. I'm leaning towards Lopez, man, but
That's
I
because
don't want
we're
to
Lopez
see.
Glazers. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah, I mean
know.
Lopez is great. I just don't want to see Volk get put out, and that's the only way that Lopez is winning this is if he puts Volk
But
out. So
that's what
that's
the
gonna be sad.
UFC wants, though. The UFC wants Lopez to put out Volkanovski, and
Yeah.
Volkanovski rethink in his head, like, oh, you know what, I should just retire right now because what am I gonna do? I already lost to the guy that they've been wanting me to fight again, back to back. I think,
Yeah, I
uh,
think BSD knocks out Hooker. I think BSD is on a
BSD,
nice, he's on a nice winning streak, and Hooker's on the opposite way down.
yeah.
Which again, like that fight, did you really have to make that fight the co-main? Like, I didn't really care about that fight either.
Uh,
And then I got who was it, Rufi and Fiziev?
Rustin Fiziev.
I got Fiziev winning that, bro. Honestly, I mean
I,
Huffy's good, man, but Fiziev is clean.
Fiziev is clean on the feet, and it really just all depends if he's if he fights Ruffy the same way he fought in Nasir Bahamundez, like if he just like starches the younger guy like that. So I got Fiziev early prediction, and then I got Taliesin Teixeira, and I got Dustin
Oh yeah,
Jacoby beating Jimmy Crew, and then
same.
we also
Same.
got the prelims too. We can like skim through that one real fast before
If there's any name, yeah, if there's any big name there.
Quillian Saldikill, he's fighting on the Australian card. This guy has
Yeah.
been on a tear. He's fighting Rong Xiang. You got Sergey Spivak fighting Ante Delija. Ante Delija quick
Okay,
turnaround after that knockout. Jonathan
that's good.
McCaff against Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott. We'll see
That's
if
right.
Oban Elliott
That's
gets
right.
back in there. Khan Olif versus Iza. I don't know who the hell Iza is. Junior Toff is fighting Billy Alakana. I don't
Okay,
know, Billy Alakana, he's had a couple
whatever.
wins already. Cam Roston versus Cody Brundage. And
Don't
then,
care about that
yeah,
fight.
Jacob Malkoun versus Torres Fenny. I think it's just everybody
Oh, that
from
card
us.
is weak, man. That card is
Dude,
not
that's
looking
what I'm
too good.
saying. For UFC 325, dude, it is not a stacked card. Um, we got Max Holloway
Okay.
versus Charles Oliveira. Early predictions.
I got
Um,
Olivera.
I got Oliveira too. I wanted to go Max Holloway, but
It's a close fight. I mean, in my mind, the way I see it playing out, it's gonna be a scrap, and I think Oliveira's gonna submit him because he has better grappling. But that's just right, fresh off of hearing the announcement.
yeah, man. Fresh off here in the announcement, you gotta go Charles just because of him beating Gamrod. Max Holloway beat Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier,
He was washed. I mean, not
he was
washed,
not
but
washed, but he was just old.
yeah.
Um, I
It's
wanted
gonna be
to
a good
lean
fight.
against, it's gonna be a good fight. I wanted to lean Max Holloway here, but that's because I like Max Holloway more than Charles Oliveira a little bit. But I got Charles winning this fight. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that's everything, man. I think that's everything
I
that we for this
yeah.
episode. Um,
That's good.
this
That's good.
is this is the Cornermen podcast, man. Follow us on all social medias. My main channel, my clips channel, TikTok, Instagram. I'm gonna have that in the links or in this video. Follow the
Yeah.
Phantom on his social media, man.
Put my
Um,
IG on there.
yep. We are the
Yeah, bro.
Cornermen.
We're gonna start doing this, man. I mean, I feel like we need some real people talking out here in the MMA community on YouTube because we got a lot of people that just sell out to the UFC, talk a lot of nonsense. We got too many inbred Dagestani glazers out here, so we
Yeah,
gotta keep
man.
it real. Lucas Tracy's out for now until he unretires himself this year probably. And we got Guru holding it down, bedtime holding it down, but we as far as like podcasts, we need something real to keep it up.
That's true. I wouldn't be surprised if Tracy comes out with like an end of the year video of everything he missed out and his
I
opinions
hope so,
on it.
bro.
I really
I love his
do.
content, man. I love his content. I love him. I love bedtime. I love Guru.
Yeah.
Those are the three pillars. And you put me on to what was it, MMA Central?
MMA Central was the MMA expert.
MMA Expert. That's right. You're right. MMA Expert. He's good too.
The MMA
He's good
expert's
too.
pretty good. I haven't gone into one of his lunchtime lives. I don't really know if he does that anymore, but
He
he's
streams
good.
too much. He's on there like his whole life. So I can't watch every single one of his streams, but he has some good breakdowns. So
Yeah,
I
he
like
has
him
really
too.
good breakdowns. I like MMA expert, but hey,
But we'll be in there.
this is the Cornerman podcast. We are your Cornermen. We're here to give you advice on all these fights. We'll catch you on the next one.